Maybe you woke up today feeling heavy-hearted, hardened by a daily grind that has stolen the lightness of your faith. Perhaps the rush of life has silenced that gentle voice that used to guide you. You feel like that closeness has grown cold, that your prayers have turned into empty rituals, pretty words without a soul, mechanical gestures without life. But this morning, in this sacred moment we are about to share, something is about to change. Not by force, but by grace. Not by effort, but by a touch. God is knocking on the door of your heart, asking permission to soften what the world has hardened, to warm what disappointment has frozen, and to open what fear has locked away. Take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, relax your jaw. This isn't a time for a performance or fancy words. This is an encounter. God is already here, just waiting for you to stop. The word says in Psalm 46, verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God." He doesn't need you to be eloquent. He needs you to be real. He needs you to be you. No masks, no filters, without the edited version you show to the world. It is written in Psalm 100, verse 4, "Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise." The door is open, you just need to walk through. Silence your phone, close your browser tab, turn off your notifications. This space is sacred, and in it you are not alone. The Spirit has already begun to work, softening the layers of hardness, preparing your heart to receive what you don't even know you need. Imagine the door of your heart right now, not a decorative door, but a heavy one, made of thick wood, with bolts rusted by time. Bolts of resentment that you installed when someone hurt you. Bolts of fear you put in place when life let you down. Bolts of routine that appeared without you even noticing, day after day of distance, until the door that used to open easily is now locked from the inside. And on the other side of that door there is light, there is warmth, there is someone waiting. Jesus says in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with him, and he with me." He didn't break it down. He didn't force it. He just knocked. And he keeps knocking, patient, faithful, waiting for you to decide to unlock it. Today, in this moment, something is shifting. You feel it. It's as if an invisible hand is touching the first bolt, and it, which has been stuck for so long, begins to give way. Not because you had the strength to open it, but because God's grace has the power to soften what was hardened. There are blessings we forget because they've become routine. Your heart that beats, a drum of mercy that hasn't stopped since you were born. Thump, 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 thump. Every beat is a declaration that God isn't finished with you yet. Every pulse is evidence of purpose. Your lungs that fill, oxygen is unearned grace. You breathe in without asking permission. You receive life without needing to earn it. The daylight streaming through the window, God painting the world anew for you, creating a sunrise that never existed before just so you can see beauty once again. The people around you, gifts wrapped in skin, breathing, loving, imperfect just like you. The table, the clothes, the roof over your head. All of this is love materialized. But the greatest blessing isn't physical, it's spiritual. It's the fact that when your heart was dead in transgressions and sins, He gave you life. When you were lost, without direction, without hope, He found you. When you deserved abandonment, when everything in you screamed that you weren't worth it, He adopted you. The word promises in Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Every dawn is evidence that God hasn't given up on you. Every sunrise is a love letter saying, I still believe in you. I still have plans. I still choose you." And you realize now, hearing your own heartbeat, feeling the air move in and out of your lungs, that being far from home doesn't mean being out of the Father's reach. You drifted away, yes. Maybe it was conscious, maybe it was little by little, maybe without even noticing. but he never drifted away. He never turned his back. He never crossed you off the list. And today, right now, in this sacred moment, you are making your way back, not because you solved all your problems, not because you fixed everything that broke, but because you're tired of living far from the one who truly loves you, tired of pretending you can do it alone, tired of carrying weight that was never yours to carry. Father, I've come, not with rehearsed words, but with a tired heart, not with merits to present, but with a need to confess. Unlock what I have locked, soften what the world has hardened, warm what disappointment has frozen. I am here, and I know you were already waiting. I know you saw from afar when I decided to return. I know your heart started running even before I took the first step. If you are feeling your heart begin to soften right now, if something inside you that was hard as stone is starting to give way, leave it in the comments. I am coming home. Record this moment. Declare what God is doing. And then you see it. Not with physical eyes, but with the eyes of the Spirit. You see him, the Father, running, not walking with dignity, not waiting for you to arrive in shame, running, his robes lifted, his bare feet hitting the dust of the road, his arms already open before you are close enough to touch. And when he reaches you, there is no sermon. There is no list of mistakes. There is no interrogation about where you've been or why it took so long. There is only a hug. That kind of hug that crushes your ribs and sets your soul free. That hug that says what words cannot. That hug that says, you are mine. You always were. You always will be. You bury your face in the Father's chest and you smell the fragrance you had forgotten. The smell of home. The smell of belonging. The smell of never being alone again. The tears come, but they aren't from sadness. They are from deep relief. They are from finally being where you were always meant to be, like a child who got lost at the mall and finally sees their father appear in the middle of the crowd. You are home, not because you reached a place, but because you are in the arms of the one who is home. The blood of Jesus is not just distant theology. It is the price paid by someone who loved you before you existed, before you did anything worthy of love. It is the voice that screams louder than every accusation of the enemy, louder than every shame from the past, louder than every fear of the future. You are mine. The blood is a scarlet mantle that covers your spiritual nakedness, warming what was frozen by rejection. It is the seal of belonging. You have been marked, bought, rescued, not with gold or silver, but with precious blood. The blood is a river flowing from the throne, washing away not just sins, but the shame that pursued you, the rejection that defined you, the fear that paralyzed you. It is a fragrance that rises to the Father, making your prayer acceptable, your presence welcome, your cry heard. The blood doesn't build walls, it builds bridges. It doesn't push you away, it pulls you close. It is the invitation to the table, the key to the house, the permission to call God Father without fear of being presumptuous. When you cry out, the blood answers. When you hesitate, thinking you don't deserve it, the blood insists that you have already been bought. It transforms impossible access into guaranteed intimacy. Because of the blood, you are not a tolerated visitor. You are a celebrated child. You aren't a guest who has to be on their best behavior. You are an heir with rights. The blood is love in liquid form, poured out so that your heart never has to harden itself alone again, so that you never have to carry guilt that Jesus already carried, so that you never have to live like an orphan when you were adopted as a son. And now, still in the Father's arms, you feel gentle hands releasing you just enough to look you in the eyes. And what you see isn't disappointment, it's joy, genuine joy, a celebration in his eyes. And he turns and shouts to the servants, "Quickly, bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet." As it is written in Luke 15, verses 22 and 23. Not old clothes, not leftovers, the best, the one kept for a special occasion. And this is a special occasion. A son has returned, a daughter has returned. What was dead has come to life. What was lost has been found. New robes are placed upon you, not by merit, but by love. Not because you cleaned up the dirt first, but because the Father covers the dirt with cleanliness. The fabric is soft, it smells new, it falls perfectly over your shoulders. And you realize it's not just clothing, it's a restored identity, it's dignity returned. It's a public declaration that you belong to this house, to this family, to this Father. The ring is placed on your finger, not just any ring, the signet ring of authority, the ring that declares, "This is my son, this is my daughter. They have my authorization. They carry my name. They speak with my voice." The ring that shines when you lift your hand, reminding demons and circumstances who you are and who sent you. The ring that feels heavy on your finger, not as a burden, but as a constant reminder. You are not alone. You are not an orphan. You carry the seal of the kingdom. Sandals are placed on your feet. Feet that were dirty from the journey back, calloused by the hard path, bruised by the stones of the road. And now they are washed, cared for, and shod. Because a child does not walk barefoot in the Father's house. A child has provision, a child has care, a child has dignity even when they don't feel they deserve it. And then, the table. You are led not to a corner, not to the kitchen where the servants eat, but to the main hall. A feast. It is written in Psalm 23, verse 5. "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil." A table prepared not after you prove you've changed, but right now. A table prepared not because you are perfect, but because he is good. And in the presence of your enemies, in the presence of accusations, doubts, and fears. The table is set, the banquet is served, and you have a guaranteed seat. What you are feeling in this moment, this warmth in your chest, this presence that has started to touch you, don't let it die when this video ends. There is a 21-day journey called the Miracle Journal, made exactly for people who feel they need to soften their hearts daily, not just today. 21 days of guided prayer, of encountering the Father, so that what is being born now becomes the foundation of your life, so that this door that started to open today remains open, because hearts soften with practice, not with a single moment. The link is in the video description and in the pinned comment. And now, let's continue discovering what it really means to be a child, what it means to live in the home that was always yours. Thank you, Father, for not giving up when I drifted away. Thank you for running when I came back stumbling, tripping, not knowing if I'd be accepted. Thank you for the clean robes that cover my shame, for the white linen that declares a purity that isn't mine but yours. Thank you for the ring that shouts child when I forget, that shines authority when I feel small. Thank you for the table prepared, for the food that feeds not just my body, but my soul. Thank you for the party that celebrates my return, for the sound of music and dancing that echoes through the halls of eternity. Thank you for every mercy that sustained my life until now. Thank you for every time I deserved abandonment and received a hug. Thank you for every time I expected judgment and received grace. Thank you because your mercies are new every morning, because I wake up and there is more. There is always more. There is always enough grace for one more day. Stop now. Just stop. Breathe deeply. Let the air fill you completely, expanding your chest, your lungs to the limit. Hold it for 3 seconds and release. Slowly. Feel the tension leaving through your shoulders, your back, your fingers. One more time. Inhale peace. Hold gratitude. Release the weight. The atmosphere around you has changed. You feel it. It's like walking into a house where it was cold and suddenly realizing someone lit the fireplace. You don't see the fire yet, but you feel the warmth starting to fill the room. God's presence has a fragrance. It has a temperature. It has an invisible texture that the spirit recognizes before the mind understands. In this moment, imagine, or perhaps you are already feeling it, a gentle warmth starting in the center of your chest. It's not anxiety, it's not nervousness, it's peace that warms. It's love that melts coldness. It's a closeness that disarms all the defenses you built up. This warmth spreads slowly, like golden honey pouring down, first touching the heart, softening what was hardened, then rising to the shoulders, relaxing muscles tense from carrying weight that wasn't yours, moving down to the stomach, dissolving knots of worry, fear, and anxiety about tomorrow. There is light too, not a light that hurts the eyes, a light that caresses the face, golden, soft, like summer late afternoon light. It doesn't invade your space, it invites you closer. And when you say yes with your heart, it fills you. It enters through the cracks of the door that started to open. It illuminates corners that have been dark for so long. And where the light touches, there is revelation. You see things about yourself you'd forgotten. You see potential that disappointment buried. You see callings that fear silenced. You see dreams that routine killed. And all of them begin to breathe again. And dew, always the dew, falling silently as God always works. No noise, no announcement, just goodness meeting need. You don't see it fall, but you feel the result. God's dew is falling on your mind, tired from thinking too much, from planning bad scenarios, from reliving conversations that are already over, on your heart, wounded by words that shouldn't have been said, by promises that weren't kept, by hopes that were frustrated, on your soul, parched from so much unquenched spiritual thirst, from so much searching in empty wells, and where it touches, there is refreshment, there is renewal. There is life wanting to sprout in soil that seemed barren. There is no rush here. There is no clock ticking. There is no agenda pushing you to the next appointment. There is only a Father who loves being near you, who cancels celestial appointments just to be here, in this moment, with you, and a son, a daughter, learning to enjoy being near the Father, rediscovering that intimacy isn't a religious obligation, it's the heart's desire. Stay here as long as you need. Breathe in this presence. Feel this invisible but real hug. Receive this love that doesn't charge, doesn't demand, doesn't set conditions. When you are ready, only when you are ready, there is more to explore. Because the Father's house has many rooms, and He wants to show you everyone. He wants you to know that this isn't a weekend visit. It's a permanent dwelling. It's a final home. If you are feeling this dew falling now, if something inside you that was dry is being watered, leave it in the comments. I am being renewed. Declare that God is doing a work of restoration in your life at this exact moment. You lift your eyes and realize for the first time where you really are. The banquet hall was only the beginning. The Father reaches out His hand and says, "Come. I want to show you something." And you walk together through the halls of the house, not just any house, the house that was built with you in mind. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 2, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." Your place, not a generic one, a specific one, with your name on the door. Every room you pass has a story, memories of provisions you didn't even notice. That time the money should have run out, but it lasted. That time you should have had an accident, but something protected you. That time you should have given up, but strength came from a place you can't explain. It was all coming from here, from this house, from this Father who never abandoned you, even when you drifted away. And then you arrive, the largest door, the most imposing, and your heart races because you know what it is, the throne room, the holiest place in the house, and the Father doesn't leave you outside. He opens the door and invites you in. My son, my daughter. You hear the voice. It's not thunder that terrifies, it's a whisper that warms. It's that voice that called your name before you were born, that knows you better than you know yourself, that loves you more than you can love yourself. And it says, you were never an orphan. Never. Not even when you drifted away thinking you'd be better off alone. Not when you doubted my love. Not when you fell repeatedly into the same mistake. You were always mine. The throne room is not a place of fear. It is a place of intimacy. The throne is not distant, it is accessible. And beside the throne there is another seat. Smaller, yes, but it's there. Because it is written in Ephesians that we were raised up and seated with Christ in the heavenly realms. You have a place here, not as a servant standing around waiting for orders, as a child who sits beside the Father and talks. And the conversation begins, not formal, not religious, real. The Father talks about plans he has for you, about purposes that were designed before the foundation of the world, about gifts that were placed inside you like seeds waiting for the right season to sprout, about people who will be impacted by your story, by your return, by the testimony of what grace has done. And you realize your life is not an accident. It's not a series of coincidences. It's a narrative being written by an author who knows exactly how the story ends and has guaranteed that it ends well. The Father also listens. You talk about the pains, the doubts, the fears you never had the courage to confess to anyone, and he isn't shocked. He isn't disappointed. He just listens, with eyes that fill with tears when you cry, with a smile that opens when you finally let out what was bottled up. Because Romans 8 verse 15 tells us, you received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father, Abba, Daddy, Papa. The most intimate term there is, you can call God Abba. And then comes the declaration that changes everything. The Father looks you in the eye and says, everything I have is yours. As he said to the older son in the parable, everything, not crumbs, not leftovers, not what others didn't want, everything. The inheritance doesn't need to be earned. It's already yours. Authority to use the name of Jesus, it's already yours. Access to the throne of grace, it's already yours. The promises of the word, they are already yours. Because you are a son, you are a daughter, and children inherit not because of performance, but because of position. Contemplate that now. Just contemplate. You aren't a beggar asking for a favor. You are an heir receiving an inheritance, not because you are perfect, but because he is the Father. And James 1 verse 17 promises, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. He doesn't change his mind about you. He doesn't wake up one day and decide he doesn't love you anymore. His love is constant. The inheritance is guaranteed. Your place is permanent. Imagine the throne room now, not with fear, but with a reverence mixed with familiarity. The walls shine with a glory that doesn't blind but invites. The floor is solid, firm. You don't have to be afraid of falling. And there is a fragrance in the air. Incense mixed with something you can't name, but that reminds you of all the prayers you thought weren't heard. They are here, kept, answered in the right time, not in your time. There are golden bowls full of something precious, and the Father shows you they are your tears, every single one collected, every cry you cried alone on your pillow, every tear that fell when you thought no one saw. It's here. Because Psalm 56 verse 8 says, record my misery, list my tears on your scroll. Are they not in your record? Noted, saved, valued, none were wasted. And there are scrolls, many of them, with your name on them. And when you approach with a racing heart, the Father unrolls one, and you read plans, detailed, specific, for your life, for your family, for your future. And you realize that nothing you went through was in vain. Everything, even the suffering that broke you, is being used to prepare you for something greater. Because Romans 8:28 promises that all things work together for the good of those who love God. All things. No exceptions. If you are seeing your inheritance now, if you are understanding that you have rights as a child that you've never claimed, leave it in the comments. I am an heir. Declare your position. Reclaim your inheritance. And in this room, with this revelation burning in your chest, you don't want to leave. But the Father, with a gentle smile, says, "There is one room I saved for last." And you walk again. A few more steps, and you arrive. Your bedroom. The door has your name engraved on it, not written with a pen, engraved in gold, permanent. And when the door opens, you understand John 14, verse 18, in a new way. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. Because an orphan doesn't have a room in the house. An orphan doesn't have a bed prepared. An orphan doesn't have a permanent place. But you are not an orphan. You never were. The room is perfect, not because it's luxurious, but because it's yours. It has your favorite colors, the ones that calm you. It has a window with a view of gardens you didn't even know existed. It has a bookshelf with books you always wanted to read, but never had time for. It has a comfortable chair for you to just sit and be, without needing to produce, without needing to perform. And the bed. Clean sheets, white as snow, smelling of lavender and peace, a soft pillow that feels tailor-made for your weariness, a blanket heavy enough to make you feel safe, light enough to let you breathe. And the Father says, lie down, rest, because this is your home. And a child rests in the Father's house without fear of waking up and finding out it was all a dream, without fear of being kicked out, without fear of no longer being welcome. You lie down, and for the first time in longer than you can remember, your body completely relaxes. Your shoulders sink into the mattress. Your breathing becomes deep. Your jaw unlocks. Your hands, which were always clenched into fists, open up, and you sleep. Not that restless sleep full of nightmares. A child's sleep, the sleep of someone who knows they are protected. The sleep of someone who trusts the Father is watching, that nothing can enter this house without his permission, that you are safe in a way you've never been. The spirit of adoption is upon you now, not as a theological concept, as a present reality. The same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives in you, and that spirit doesn't make you a slave again to fear. He makes you a child to rest, to trust, to know that your Father is the Almighty God who does not sleep, does not slumber, does not get distracted, who has his eyes on you constantly, who has his ears attentive to the slightest sigh, who has his hands ready to act at the right moment. And while you rest, there is still work being done. But it's not you doing the work, it's God. The dew continues to fall, watering deep roots you didn't even know you had. The light continues to shine, exposing lies you believed about yourself, replacing them with truths from the Word. The warmth continues to heat, melting layers of ice around your heart, allowing you to feel again, love again, trust again. There is peace in this room. Not the absence of problems, the presence of God. Philippians 4 verse 7 describes it. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This peace is guarding you now, guarding you from anxiety about tomorrow, guarding you from remorse about yesterday, guarding you in the present, in the now, in the moment of grace that is today. Imagine your spirit as a lamp that has finally been lit. For so long it was out, darkness dominated. But now there is light. Your soul is a garden that was dry, cracked, without apparent life. But the water has started to flow again, and you see green sprouts breaking through the hardened soil. The green of hope, the green of new beginnings, the green of life that cannot be contained. Your mind, which was trapped in loops of worry, begins to quiet down. Thoughts that were running in circles begin to organize, because when you are at home, when you are resting in the Father's presence, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to solve everything. You can simply trust that He is in control and that His control is good, it's perfect, it's full of love. If you are feeling this peace now, if something that was agitated inside you has begun to calm down, leave it in the comments. I have found rest. Testify that God brought you home and gave you peace. And when you wake up, you don't know how much time has passed. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you wake up different, lighter, more whole, as if pieces of you that were scattered have been put back together. And the first thing you see is the Father, sitting in the chair beside the bed, just watching you sleep. Not in a weird way, in a fatherly way. In the way a father loves to watch his child resting because it means the child trusts him. Good morning, he says, or good afternoon or good night. Celestial time doesn't follow an earthly clock, and you smile. Because waking up in God's presence is different from waking up alone, checking your phone, diving immediately into problems that can wait. You wake up and the first thing you see is love. The first voice you hear is the Father's. The first sensation is belonging. And He says, you can come back here whenever you want. This room is yours. This house is yours. Not just when you're in a crisis, not just when you need something, always, because you are a child. And children live in the Father's house. They don't just visit. The door of your heart that started to open today can stay open. It doesn't need to close again just because the routine comes back. It doesn't need to lock again just because the world is hard. You can keep it open, and I keep coming in. We keep dining together, we keep talking, we continue being father and child. You get up, and you realize that the robes given to you are still on you. The ring still shines on your finger. The sandals still protect your feet. Because what God gives, He doesn't take away when you make a mistake. Your identity as a child isn't revoked by imperfect behavior. It is sustained by perfect love. And now, standing in this room, you look out the window, and you see the world out there. Your problems haven't disappeared. Your responsibilities remain. But you are no longer the same person you were when you started this prayer. Because a heart that was hardened was softened, a door that was locked was opened, a son who was far away came back home. And now when you leave this room, you leave different. You take this home with you. You take this Father in your heart. You take this identity in your soul. The Lord bless you and keep you. As it is written in Numbers 6, verses 24 to 26, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. This is not an empty prayer. It is a decree. It is a priestly blessing that has power because it comes from God. He blesses you not just with things, but with His presence. He keeps you not only from external dangers, but from internal ones, from the lies that try to destroy you from the inside. He makes His face shine on you, and a face that shines is a face that smiles, that approves, that loves, and gives you peace, not just any peace, His peace, which transcends all understanding, which doesn't make logical sense because you still have problems, but you don't have despair. You still have challenges, but you don't have paralyzing fear. You still have uncertainties, but you don't have corrosive anxiety, because God's peace isn't the absence of the storm. It's the presence of God inside the storm. It's knowing that no matter what comes, you have a Father who is greater. That no matter the size of the wave, you have an anchor that does not move. Take this gratitude into your day. When you're in traffic, give thanks out loud for a God who didn't abandon you. When you're working, remember that you work as a child, not as a slave trying to prove your worth. When you're with people, look at them as gifts, not as problems. When you lie down tonight before you sleep, write down 3 blessings you received, just 3. And watch your heart expand. And pray for those who hurt you. I know it's hard, but a soft heart can pray for those. A hard heart can only hate. And when you pray for them, you aren't being weak, you are being free. Because forgiveness sets the forgiver free more than the one being forgiven. A heart that holds a grudge is a heart imprisoned. A heart that forgives is a heart that flies. God's presence is a perfume that sticks to the skin. You leave this moment different. People will feel it. They will ask what changed, not because you got more handsome on the outside, but because something on the inside was touched. And when the interior changes, the exterior reflects it. When the heart softens, the face relaxes. When the soul rests, the body breathes differently. You felt what happened here. Something changed. A heart that was hard began to soften. A door that was locked began to open. A distance that seemed impossible to cross was traversed. And now you decide to let this die when the video ends, or to turn it into a daily discipline that reconfigures your entire life. The Miracle Journal exists exactly for this. 21 days of directed prayer, of coming back to the Father's house every day, not just today. 21 days of keeping the heart's door open, of cultivating this soft heart that has started to be born now. Because hearts soften with consistent practice, not with a single emotional moment. And 21 consecutive days transform a decision into a habit into nature, and nature into identity. The link is in the video description and in the pinned comment. Don't let the hardness return. Don't let the door close again just because the routine is relentless. Don't waste what God started today. Click there now. The Miracle Journal. 21 days that will firm up what you felt, that will build upon this foundation of intimacy, that will guarantee you